Hello, my name is Barbara. I am a behavior tech, and today we're going to talk about radical behavior. So, in a previous video, we discussed about experimental analysis of behavior, how it was created. We talk about the operant behavior that is different from the respondent behavior, and we understood that Skinner actually believed in both, but he just want to create a new field with the operant behavior. He believed that it was a new science. And today we're going to discuss a little bit about the radical behaviorism. So Skinner created the experimental analysis of behavior, but he also created a big discussion, numerous discussions regarding to the philosophy of that science. The understanding a little bit about this philosophy, we could help the creation of the principles of behavior. And it's interesting to think that behaviorism is a little bit different from all the other areas from the psychology. I would like to bring a discussion about some different philosophies that Cooper will discuss in his books. The first one is going to be mentalism. When we think about mentalism, we can think about different famous people such as Freud, Descartes, Piaget. And this philosophy will defend the idea that the inner exists. So we have this mental dimension, such as neural, psych, spiritual, subjective, all this exists. All of this inner, all these dimensions, these mental dimensions, will mediate the behavior. So we can actually understand people's behavior throughout this path, throughout understanding that there is this mental inner dimension. But because we cannot observe, we cannot do experiments on a mental dimensions, we're gonna call this hypothetical construct. For example, you cannot measure ID, you cannot measure ego, you cannot measure the superego from Freud, for example. Another philosophy is the explanatory fiction. It happens when we want to explain a behavior that can't be observable. So Skinner believed that we cannot, using the explanatory fiction, cannot actually contribute to the understanding of this maintenance of the behavior. So let's put an example that Cooper is gonna mention. Is like, if you have a rat in a laboratory and he will press the lever only during the day, we can't just assume that he will press the lever on the day because he learned that the day is when he have food. We cannot say that he will associate the day to the food. When we say that he can associate day and food, we are just trying to explain a behavior that is not measured, and we are trying to understand this behavior of only get the food during the day to a cognitive process, not the behavior itself. Another philosophical position is the pragmatism. We relate the pragmatism to solve problems. We'll defend the idea of a statement, of a declaration, of a concept will only have a truth value if this concept or statement has an effective action or a practical effect. It needs to be truth, inquiry, it needs to have experience. We use a lot of the adaptability, about the critical thinking, and it is very important actually for the behavior analysis. Another philosophical position is the methodological behavior. And methodological behavior will believe that all the mental dimensions exist, but we do not consider it in behavioral analysis. We do not use this on our practice. This philosophical position, it's very considered very restrict. Skinner, he will see the feelings and he will see the thoughts. He will see all this mental dimension that the other position is gonna say, but he see this as a private event, and he understands that they exist, but they are also considered behavior. So we can still analyze them as we analyze the observable behavior. And Skinner will also say that all these private events are actually influenced by the environment too. And that's actually how the radical behaviorism will exist. With Skinner defending the idea that we can actually use the private events, we can actually measure the private events because they are also behavior, since that they also can be modified by the environment. Skinner will mix, in radical behaviorism, Skinner will mix the private events and the observable behavior. Another interesting thing that Skinner will mention is regarding to what we feel inside our skin is actually felt for our own body, not for mental dimensions. So when the behavior analyst actually have this knowledge regarding to principles of behavior and the radical behaviorism together, we can avoid use the mentalist approach and also explanatory fiction. This is all for today. Thank you for watching.